And are we live? Yeah, yes, we're live. What's going on, everybody? Happy Eurovision week. It's hard to believe that it's taken this long, but it's happening. As far as we know, it's happening, barring any unforeseen circumstances. I'm sure that everybody is really excited. We've obviously been waiting a long time for this moment. We are missing some names in here. Let me bring that in. So we know who we're talking to. What's going on, Dominic and Twan? How are you guys?
Excited.
Yes.
Yeah. Are we mentally prepared for what might unfold today?
I mean, I'm
No.
used to my favorites not qualifying or losing, so I know what's to come.
Fair enough. I feel like I've also kind of learned to accept that it's not all about me anyway. So the songs that I like are the songs that I like, and that's not going to change whether or not they qualify. But obviously, you want to see them do well. I see a lot of risks being taken in this semifinal, which I am all about, and I want to see that rewarded in some way, shape, or form. Whether or not that will happen, I don't know. But Dominic, you said you're not prepared.
No, I'm not prepared, but in a way I am, because I have already created my own final and no one can change that, so it's fine. And all I can do is just vote. Like, Germany can vote tonight, so I will definitely do that. But otherwise, all I can do is just wait and hope.
Let's talk to some of you guys in the live chat. Hello to Morton V. Nice to see you again. Sarah Halloran is saying she will be very late due to a walk. Rye Bailey is so nervous for tonight's results. Rye, I believe you're from Ireland. Is that the case? Correct me if I'm wrong. Excuse me. Jamie Brennan is really hoping that Ireland makes it through tonight. I hope so as well. Morton V saying this semi is so wide open. I'm really excited to see what surprises tonight brings. As am I. And like I said, I think I'm mentally prepared for disappointments, because I think that because it's just so wide open, nobody's going to get all their favorites through. Or I don't know, maybe some people will get all their favorites through. But I feel like I'm going to have to make some compromises because there are plenty of songs that I just don't care for, but they have really respectable performances that I could see them going into the final. There are certain songs that I thought were guaranteed non-qualifiers that after watching the jury show, I have changed my mind about. So who knows? Oh, Rye Bailey's from the UK, but he loves Ireland's song. Hi to Aoife. Nice to see you again, as are we. Hello to Takam1, hoping that Norway will make it through. Hello to Frankie. I would say that we're all doing well and we're all really excited / nervous for what's going to happen. Oh, Euroboy4, thank you so much. Yes, it is my birthday.
Oh yes, happy birthday! I hadn't even realized. Congratulated, but
this is what I'll ask everyone. As you know, in Canada we cannot vote. So if you'd like to give me a low-cost birthday gift, I would love for you guys to vote for either Ukraine or Australia, because I would love to see both of them in the final. Latvian hoping for Authentics to go through. Frankie's also nervous. Hello to Pascal, also really hoping for Latvia. Thank you very much, Frankie. Thank you, Takam1. Thank you, Rye Bailey. So now to shift the focus off of me, I very much appreciate the birthday wishes, but we're talking about Eurovision tonight. So I guess we'll start with the running order. Let's get one more in here. Morton V, because you got a long one. Happy birthday, Stu. Hope today's gone well for you so far. It's only going to get even more exciting. I've been having a great day so far. I just finished my coffee, which is always a good place for me to be in. And again, I'm mentally prepared. Thank you, Simon, saying what a presence you have tonight in this semifinal. Yes, totally. And last time that Eurovision happened, it was actually my birthday on the final, and what I was hoping for was Duncan Lawrence to win, and he did. So that was a great birthday gift. But anyway, enough about my birthday. Let's move on to Eurovision. Lithuania opening. We've talked lots about Lithuania. I feel like most people are quite confident that this will qualify. I have heard certain doubts, and I, in some ways, have my doubts. But I'd love to know, Dominic, how do you feel about Lithuania?
I'm very, very sure that's going to get through. However, I expect a discrepancy between televote and jury. So I can see it a borderline qualifier for the jury, but a definite qualifier for the televote. And in the end, it's going to get through easily.
I think I agree with you 100%. I don't see it being like a favorite with the juries. It could do respectable, and it might be it might be slightly more than a borderline with the juries, but like, yeah, in terms of some of the vocal performances that we're seeing today, and just like the maybe musical complexity is not the right word to use, because I think that musically speaking, Lithuania has a great song, but obviously, that the quirkiness of it might be a little bit of a turnoff, and people might think it's a bit of a joke entry. But televote, I think the televote's going to love it. I'm leaning much more towards qualification than non-qualification. Tvan, your thoughts?
I think this is televote winner potential, to be honest, because it's just like it's opening at everyone's had like a rough 2 years, and Eurovision is finally happening. The happy song, like it's all in a vibe, and I think this will really attract all the televoters. Definite qualifier, I would say.
Euroboy4 is hoping that Cyprus will win this semi tonight. She really deserves it. I could see it happening. I wouldn't necessarily want it to happen, but I want Cyprus, and it's funny because like I want Cyprus. I feel like is the most guaranteed qualifier, which is a bit weird to me. And it's not that I don't want her to do well, but I just feel like Cyprus has gotten very comfortable, and I want to see Cyprus shake it up a little bit in 2022. That's all I'm saying. But this performance looks great.
They did in 2020, but then they went back.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. They were taking a risk, and then Sandro wanted to do other things. What's he called now? Tyler?
I think Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah. He's had a few name changes, but anyway, I'm pretty confident that we'll see that in the final, and it could definitely potentially win the semifinal. Latvian saying Lithuania is a no-brainer. This is in the final, and then Rai Bailey is thinking the opposite. He doesn't think that Lithuania will qualify. I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, it's part of what makes the semifinal so exciting. I could see it just rubbing people the wrong way, and I'm basing that off of the fact that when I showed both On Fire and Discotheque to people here in Canada, some people just felt it was a little bit too weird. Obviously, Canadian sensibilities are a little bit different, so I'm not sure. If that means anything. Morton V saying Lithuania is one of my most confident qualifiers. Not sure I worded that well, but you get the idea. No, of course you did. And Takam one afraid for Ireland. We'll get to Ireland. But now let's talk about Slovenia. Twan's favorite, one that at one point you said that this could be a dark horse to win, but I understand that your opinions might have changed.
I'm definitely not winning anymore. It's still my winner because I still absolutely love it. But I just think this semi is so strong. Like it's one of the strongest semis ever. So I doubt this will qualify, but I hope and have still a little hope that the jury will push this through.
I could see that happening because it is one of the best vocal performances that we have. The question that I have is, what are the juries going to think of the song itself? Because it does, as I've said before, it seems to be a great opportunity for Anna to show off her voice, but I do feel a bit of a disconnect, and maybe some members of the jury might feel that way as well. Dominic, your thoughts on Slovenia?
Yeah, I think it's gonna get overshadowed, I'm afraid. Like the second in the running order is not doing her any favors. And also she has Destiny in the semifinal. So in terms of the vocals, she has a really big competition. So I don't think she can even like just get the points out of it, because I think Destiny will overshadow her in this regards. Then we have other ballads who are a bit more appealing, I would say. So again, this how should I say it? Like this field is also taken. So it's very, very hard to find any points, I think she's going to be higher with jury than in televote, I would say, but I don't think that jury will be enough, because sometimes it's like you get 0 televote, but like 120 something points, and it's still enough.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be the case here. So I don't see it happening. If she's going to qualify, I would be very pleased, because I think she's amazing. And I really love this gospel choir in the background. That is really like on point. I love that. And I love the fact that she's going to take advantage of this backing role, backing vocal
Backing
rule. So I
vocals,
think,
yeah.
yes. So she's really doing this gospel sound, because
Mm.
with only 5 backings, I don't think this would have been possible.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's a very good timing.
Yeah, I take your points, and you know, we have to remember that the reason why this rule was put in place was to give delegations the opportunity to minimize the size of their delegation. Yeah, it's definitely been interesting to see how people have applied it. I still do feel like a song like this, it could have benefited from maybe doing a mix where you have pre-recorded vocals to make that gospel sound a little bit more full, but then to also have live backing vocals. Maybe that might have made the stage presentation a little bit more appealing for my tastes. And I'm also going to mention too that pretty much all of what we've said is a bit of a difference in opinion from how Andy, Clara, and Tommy feel. I'm so in the habit of saying Andy, Clara, Jess, Andy, Clara, and Tommy. They all. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're all super confident that it's going to qualify, but they, in their video yesterday, they felt somewhat strongly about it. to put it very vaguely. Takam One saying Slovenia is not qualifying. Let's respect for her vocals. Such a great singer. Absolutely. Aoife saying Slovenia, the most beautiful voice. I just think it's the wrong year for this type of song. Morton V saying, I feel like Slovenia could place 8th or 9th for jury vote only. Just a feeling. Euroboy 4 jumping ahead of it a little bit, but see shock non-qualifiers as Sweden, Australia, and Azerbaijan. Depending on who you ask, those would not necessarily be shocks, but I think I'll be happy to get into that mix of things. Latvian reminding us what is sometimes forgotten: Eurovision is full of surprises. Felix, we will get to Romania a little bit. And Kit Kit, don't underestimate the Christian community in ESC. Who knows, they will vote for her. It's possible.
Does that say that Cyprus will give Slovenia 12 points?
Oh dear, what an interesting year. Whoop. Hello to sorry, everything jumped out again. Hello again to Pascal, and hello to the big man on the ground. Yusuf, nice to see your love for Turkey. However, Turkey is not in Eurovision this year. Maybe some year we'll see them come back.
I would love them to come back because Turkey are great at Eurovision. They've brought so much quality.
I feel like it's been so much time since they've been in here last that it will be interesting to see how they adapt to like Eurovision in 2022. Let's say, I mean, obviously we're not going to see them next year, but if they were to come back in the years to come, it would be very interesting to see how they would tackle the contest nowadays. All right, so shall we move on to Russia? Twan, your thoughts on Russia?
Love it. I think this is a possible semi-final winner.
Oh,
like I think it's just got everything. It's got like a bit of quirkiness. I don't want to compare it to like Toy, but like it's got the same vibe for me. Like Toy was also a bit quirky, and this is also a little bit quirky. It starts off with her in the amazing dress. It's just visually very appealing as well.
mm-hmm.
I love all the visuals. Her vocals are great. I'm just not sure how the jury is gonna feel about this because like on one side, like her vocals are amazing, like she shows off her vocals.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, I don't think this is a song that would appeal to the jury that much. However, it can go either way. I think it will go the way that the jury will also really like this because it does show her vocal abilities quite a lot and like the ethnic and all that stuff. And the televote will also love this, I think.
I have the same thoughts as you, and that has to do with the fact that this has a substantial hip hop sound, and we always have our doubts when it comes to hip hop at Eurovision. As far as the jury reception, and also the fact that it is mostly in the Russian language, so that probably might not necessarily work to its favor when it comes to that jury score. But I do love what they're bringing. The fact that Russia of all countries is bringing this alternative hip hop song about female empowerment, about like guarding it specifically towards like Russian women as well. It's fascinating. Dominic, your thoughts on Russia?
Yeah, I agree with you too, and also like I love her attitude.
Yes,
the stage presence is like insane. She's so engaging. I really love it. You feel entertained for the whole 3 minutes. It's not going to get boring. And I also must say the progression of the song is very good. So it starts off as very quirky, and then it has some traditional moments with the chorus, and then in the end, like the hip hop and the traditional part comes together, and it just explodes in the end, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to that moment when we watched it in their national selection, their very bizarre and spontaneous national selection that nobody knew what to expect from, and it was captivating from start to finish. I also think that, like, I know that I could get behind a song like this. I'm not so sure how it's going to go with the rest of Europe, but I am leaning towards a qualification here. More than non-qualification. Marco Stanley, let's answer this. Do jury members tend to be fans? No. Sometimes they are previous participants. What they should be are music professionals, like either musicians themselves, composers, producers, radio personalities, journalists as well. Sometimes you do get people in other creative fields with not everybody agrees with that, but I do think, as somebody who works in a creative field, I do think that you should allow for somebody who's like a TV producer to do something like that. But there have been questionable choices in the jury when it comes to the job or their age, but we won't get into that. Overall, I think that the jury serves a much needed purpose in Eurovision. I don't know what this means, Lydia. I don't know if that's a typo or if that's a Russian word.
I think she
it's
loves
qualifying.
Yeah. Takom one saying, Russia is quirky, yes, but not really a song, meaning it changes pace a bit much. Will qualify because Manesia is amazing. Yeah, maybe people don't really like the shift from hip hop to the Russian chanting. I find it really fascinating. Rye Bailey saying that it will qualify. Morton V saying Russia are putting on a great show with amazing visuals. Hello to AM Rifki. What time is it there in Indonesia? Aoife asking, what do the juries look for, like radio friendly, and what else? I would say it really depends on what background they have, because if, let's say that you had somebody who has like a classical music background, they might like something like what North Macedonia is bringing. But if you had somebody that's like a radio DJ or somebody who works in that environment, they might be more interested in like the pop side of it, the marketability of it. It's all possible.
Yeah, that really depends on the jury. So in Germany, it's always like, well, the song was meh, but it was radio friendly, so I voted for it. I was like, no, this is not your job. You should like consider the live performance a song. It's a song contest, not a radio song contest. The staging, like everything, and not just saying like, well, it could be played on the radio. Oh, I really don't like this, because that's not what it's all about.
I do think that it is something to consider, and especially when we think about the songs that have been successful at Eurovision nowadays, it is important to consider like how much appeal it has and how successful that it is in doing that, because like it is a skill to make something like have a global appeal. But I do think that sometimes some people have different ideas about what that means. And obviously not everybody's a fan, but we all knew that. Mark Borgard saying, that always happens. Sorry. Mark Borgard saying, I hope Croatia qualifies. He loves TikTok. Olivia, let's go to this. Why are there so few people in the juries? I don't understand how it can be hard to organize. ESC is supposed to be the biggest music competition in the world. I mean, at this point, it would only be speculating. But as far as why there aren't more people on the jury, because I've heard people talk about how, like, because it's 5 people per country, that when there's those errors, like the jury sheets going in backwards, it causes unfortunate repercussions. I do think that one of the challenges, though, is ensuring that you don't have nepotism play into this, because obviously lots of people in the music industry are connected, and I don't know. I see that there are a lot of challenges to make it as objective as possible. But yeah. All right, we're getting all kinds of different opinions in here. So after Russia, we have Sweden, which we've already seen somebody say here they believe it's going to be a shock non-qualifier. Dominic, your thoughts on that?
Sweden is always difficult because it's always like, well, Sweden will qualify no matter what. And then we had 2010, so no one is safe. So basically, except for Ukraine and Australia, maybe. Yeah, so I think it's gonna get through, but it's not gonna get through as comfortable as many think. So I predict like a 7th or 8th place. So I don't think it's gonna win the semis. I don't think it's gonna finish top 10 because I think it's too basic. It's like he's a great performer. I love his attitude. Like he's great, and the song is good. But would I vote for it? Not necessarily. So I think it's like a song everyone likes, but no one loves it that much that you're gonna vote for it because usually you just vote for your favorite. And I think that's the issue with Sweden this year, I think.
Yeah, and as I've been thinking about this a lot, and nowadays I do feel like they're going through to the final. I think that the issue that I've had and other people have mentioned when it comes to the song itself is that this idea of a million voices calling out in the rain, it's a bit of a platitude, right? Like it can have meaning. And I think that especially because we have a black singer with all black backing dancers, people could interpret that as fighting against racial injustice or really any kind of injustice. But I do think that when listening to the words, that might be why people haven't necessarily warmed up to it. With that said, I do think that the juries are going to get behind it. I would say that this, to a point, is the best looking song that we have when we come to it in the semifinal. Because I mean, Lithuania looks good too, but again, there's that quirkiness factor. Slovenia, in terms of aesthetics, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. I have to say, Russia, of course, is amping up the quirky factor even more. But in terms of the I don't want to say flash because that makes me sound like I'm discounting it. They're making a lot of really good visual decisions here. The one thing that I don't like is the background dancers again on the LEDs because it just looks kind of tacky to me. But everything else I think is fine. And in terms of performance, I think that the juries could definitely push this through. Tavon, your thoughts?
I think it's interesting that you said you didn't really like the backing dancers on the screen because that was the part that I personally really, really liked. I thought that was very beautiful. Yeah,
difference in opinions, man. It's part of what makes the show great.
Very beautiful. Like it looked like there was like an army of people behind him dancing, and I think that looked really good. Whereas it comes to qualifying, I think this is a pretty much a sure qualifier. Maybe not as sure as everyone initially thought. Well, after the rehearsals, I started thinking, will this qualify? Does this have a chance to be Sweden's second non-qualifying act ever? I think this will definitely qualify because his vocals are just so good. The song is good as well. Like there's nothing really special, nothing that we haven't seen before, but it's a good song. He's a great performer, and the staging just looks really great. So I think he will qualify.
Lots of opinions about Sweden here. I almost said Sweden, which sounds a bit weird. Latvians saying juries will say
Sweden.
Sweden?
Sweden.
Sweden. Neil Era saying Sweden probably top 3 with the juries. Can get 0 from televote and still qualify. It's happened before. I don't think it's going to get 0 though, because I do think that the anthemic quality of the song is going to reach some people in the public. I don't think it has the same kind of charm that like Jan Lundvik had, and also that was kind of a different style of song too. I think that this has televote appeal, maybe not a runaway, probably not a runaway with the televote. Questions about Flow Rider, surprise, surprise. We're talking about semifinal 1, but I appreciate the excitement. And yeah, so I see like 11-star RF saying Tusa's song is beige. Aoife saying, I hate saying it, and it's nothing against the country, but if Sweden gets through, they need to switch up the way things happen because it's not really good enough. The singer is lovely and the song is not. So like, this is how I feel, because there does seem to be this, maybe it's not a consensus because obviously this song has fans, but I feel a hunger from fans of Eurovision to see Sweden do better, to be riskier. And while I do not wish for this to not qualify, perhaps if it did, that would change the thinking, especially if a song like Je me casse were to do really well, because that it's been revealed since then that it was considered for Melfest. Of course, now it's getting this label as a Melfest reject, which is a little bit harsh, because there are over 2,500 songs that get submitted to Melfest, and you can only get 28 on the show. But it could be something to consider if that song were to do better. And then maybe when it comes to how Melfest is produced, there would be a change in thinking. Because we also have to remember that when it came to the televote in Melody Festival, and Tusa got more votes. He pulled in a record. I think it was like 3 million votes, and he came first in all of the age groups. So it's reaching an audience. Is that going to be exclusive to Sweden? Probably not.
I do want to say, though, that Melody Festival for next year is getting a new format.
Oh.
We don't know what format, because the last time Melody Festival got a new format, they added the semifinals and the second chance round. So let's see what that brings. But I do have to say that I do think Sweden has gone differently this year and last year. Because like in 2016, 17, 18, and 19, we've seen them send quite the same kinds of songs, and whereas in 2020 and 2021, I think the songs are kind of different from what they usually tend to send. But I do think it's still kind of safe, and I would love to see Sweden sending something like Behöver inte dig idag from Melody Festival this year, which did unexpectedly well, which is also a really good sign for me.
Yes.
I hope she comes back in a couple of years and then wins and goes to Eurovision, because that would be a really refreshing song for Sweden. And as Latvians are saying, we want Swedish language. I totally agree.
Yeah, and to me, it's not so much about the language. Like, I was really pleasantly surprised to see that do well. And I have to admit, I wasn't really that sold on it when it performed in the semifinal, but I was happy to see it move on. And then when it got to the final, that was great. Sorry, I don't want to talk too much about this, because we're giving a lot of time to this. But yeah, like the style of song, I wouldn't have expected that style of song to do so well at Melfest, and maybe that could also cause a change of thinking in the kinds of songs that get sent to Melfest. But anyway, that's a separate discussion. We're talking about qualifiers for today. After Sweden, we've got Australia. Of course, they are the only ones who are using the backup footage. Lots of interesting perspectives on this one. I'll go to you first, Dominic. Your thoughts on Australia?
Yeah, so I have been to Australia for 8 months, so I always have a weak spot for Australia. I want them to do well, and I'm so happy that they are participating. But I remember the first time I've heard the song and was like, ugh. And now I'm really this is one of the biggest growth, I would say. I really like it now. And at the beginning I was like, what the? So really ugh. And I kind of have the feeling that's gonna be the case with a lot of viewers. So I'm afraid that this is not gonna qualify. But then later on, a few years afterwards, they're like, yes, Technicolor, love it. So I think it's gonna be like a very appreciated non-qualifier, for example, Iceland 2017, Greta Salome, or was it 16? Was it 16?
2016,
yeah. I think it's something like that it's a non-qualifier, but it's still a very, very popular song. So I can imagine this kind of road would be also the first non-qualification for Australia. So I know it's a big thing to say, but I have the feeling that they are in higher risk than usually about not qualifying.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this so many times, because I was a huge fan of Don't Break Me last year. I'm still a huge fan of Montaigne. I want Australia to go to the final. I don't want this to be, especially because of the circumstances, I don't want people to be like, well, we would have made it if we were able to go to Rotterdam, or because of coronavirus. I don't want that to kind of pollute the thinking behind this. An interesting point that was made yesterday by our team on the ground was the visuals. And it seems like in the chorus, when we get that explosion of color, there's kind of this Gaussian blur thing going on. That old idea of when in old movies they would put Vaseline on the lens to make it look dreamy, and that was kind of bothering their eyes. And I wasn't thinking about that, but now that they mentioned it, I do think that might be a bit of a turnoff for the audience. vocally really great. And Montaigne was one of those artists where, you know, there were certain doubts, you know, performances that we had seen, we didn't get, like, you know, she might not have been hitting all the notes, but this time it's great. And I do think that this could make it through on jury points. And I don't think that it's going to be such a turnoff for the televote. I think that people will appreciate the fun spirit that it has, but like, in danger of not qualifying, definitely, but could also surprise, I think. Tavon, your thoughts?
I agree. Like at first I thought, at first I saw a lot of people not really into this song. However, having heard her performance yesterday, I think she was one of the best vocally yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I do really hope she gets through. I love the performance. I just wish it would have been a little bit more colorful, because the song is called Technicolor and it's a quite dark performance, but I do get where they're coming from. Like there is quite a lot of color, but in certain points, and the rest is a bit dark. I wish there would have been a bit more color, but in general, I really, really like this, and I hope she gets through.
And we should also recognize the challenge that they've had, because, you know, when you don't have all of the technology available to you in your own studio, like you're really making the best of what you have. And I think that considering that this still has to compete with all of those songs that have that opportunity, they've done it exceptional. I really applaud the team there. Ry Bailey saying, not Australia's year, I'm afraid. Milosh Gaming saying, too many good songs, Australia will not qualify. MHQ, I agree with you, because I can't vote either myself. And I think you said that you're in Turkey, but correct me if I'm wrong. Latvian pointing out the thing that we all know, and I don't want to think about that. Kit saying, Montaigne sounds fine in the live on tape performances, but she looked awkward and uncomfortable with her expressions. I don't know.
I just think that's her way of expressing herself. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah. Takom saying, I'm very sorry. I do love Montaigne, but I dislike the song. Euroboy4 was saying it was about time for Australia not to qualify. They escaped it a couple times ago. I don't think. I don't think that Australia has really made any errors in their decision. Maybe it's, well, sorry, that might be a bit generous, because everybody makes errors. But I really like what Australia brings to Eurovision. It's a different dynamic. It's adding to the musical diversity, and I want to see this in the final. And I'm going to put that positivity out there, because they've been putting in everything they've got.
I just want to say that, like, Australia is one of those countries, like, they've not sent a similar song, like they've sent different songs every year.
Yes,
all of them have qualified and have done really well. So that's a really good example of how to be different every year, but do very good every year.
Yes, and how to, you know, win over people like me. Let's move on to North Macedonia. Twan, why don't you start us off with that one?
I'm a big sucker for ballads and like kind of operatic power ballads. And this is one of those. It took me some time to get into. At first, I wasn't really, like, the first time I listened to it, I loved it. And then it kind of grew off of me. But when he started rehearsing, it grew on me again. And I hope he qualifies. I really hope so, because I absolutely love the song and his vocals are out of this world. And the visuals are very appealing for me personally. I can see why people think that it doesn't work. But I personally really like the thing that the Dutcher thing, if you want to call it that way, but with the mirrors on his chest, I think that really works. I doubt he'll qualify. The jury might just pull him through, because I can see him do very well with the juries, but yeah, I doubt it, I have to say.
So this was probably the song that I was most concerned about, like from the very beginning. At some point yesterday, I was watching it and I'm like, I could see this in the final. And I just feel like maybe it's the kind of calmness that it brings that no other song has. Like the slowest song that we have up to that point is Slovenia. But Slovenia just feels a little bit more traditional in terms, like in a Eurovision sense. I don't know. This is
This semi is just so hard to predict
Yeah.
because it's one of the strongest semis ever. Like there's like everyone in this semi is a sure qualifier or borderline qualifier. Like everyone. Like if I could put everyone through, I would.
And that's just how because there's only 10 spots in each semifinal to move on to the final. And if you like, imagine taking 26 of your favorite songs, putting them into a contest, and saying that only one of those is going to be loved and celebrated by the rest of the world. You know?
Yeah.
So it's just it's the nature of the competition. The competition is a bit cruel, unfortunately. But you know, speaking about Vasil and North Macedonia, telling a very personal story, being very vulnerable on stage, I love that aspect of it. As somebody mentioned in our live before, the kind of West End vibe might not be what people are really looking for, but it does have some moments, and I'm glad that they've been able to refine the what I'm still going to call the laser boobs, because that's what I was calling it when it came to when it came to daughter. Vasil's got great laser boobs. Dominic, your thoughts on North Macedonia?
Okay, so first of all, I love the fact that he's there because he like had so many issues to get there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the cancellation, then the struggle with his song, and like, yeah, whatever. Don't want to get into detail, but you can really feel that. That's what I was referring to. So when he was performing, he's so happy, so excited to be there, and you can really, really feel that. So that's amazing. And in terms of the song, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I don't see it qualifying, especially like when we're always saying like, I think it's going to be high with jury. Well, we are saying that to almost every song, and someone has to be bottom.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Yeah,
that's the issue. And yeah, and in comparison to the others, am I saying like, is this really stronger than others in terms of the jury? I don't see the appeal to it. I think it's going to be higher than the televote, but I don't think it's going to be high enough for both sides, you know, which is a shame, really, because he's great. He's a very good performer.
Yeah, and you know, being honest, when it comes to like personal tastes and you know, wanting the kind of variety, because we know that this year is very heavy on the bops, the, you know, pop numbers with you know, these divas, as people like to say. And this song, while different to that, is not necessarily a song that I feel would bring the best kind of diversity to the final. Whereas like I would much prefer something like Belgium. However, you know, that authenticity does come through. I think maybe for us it's a little bit easier to recognize that because we know Vasil and his story, and the audience might not necessarily get it. Or well, they might get what he's going for, but they might not necessarily know exactly how deep that goes. Because honestly, like, even though I've known about him for more than a year, as we all have, I didn't actually know about the fact that he was deported when he was a kid, and all the kind of unique struggles that he had in the US while he was living there as a refugee. So, you know, hopefully for him, he's able to at least reach out to that audience. Maybe it could manage a qualification. Boa tarde to Pedro. Nice to see you. Let's go to these comments. Pascal saying what we're all saying. I could literally see any song from the semi in the final at this point. It's such a good thing that we're not like we're not the kind of people that people depend on for like laying their bets, because we would be really terrible at that.
I would, yeah.
Neil Era saying, I feel Macedonia might finish above Slovenia, and has a weird feeling about that. It could happen.
Anything could happen this semi.
God. Yeah,
it's just a big blank from me.
Don't place your bets off of anything that we say, because we're not telling you anything that's worthwhile. Takam One saying, I love a bit of musical theater, but Vasil is too much even for me. Vocals are great, but no, this will not get through. Sadly, that was how I was feeling for the longest time. Something changed. You know what? I have to say that they added something to the background in the beginning of the song that really helps, because at first it was a lot of darkness, and they gave it just a touch of orange kind of smoke in the background, and that worked really well. More birthday comments. Thank you so much.
And compliments about your hair.
About my hair.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
show
thank
it.
you. Oh, yeah,
There
that's
you
right.
are.
I did cut my hair. My partner cut my hair, and he does a very good job. So let's move on to Cyprus, which I've already kind of said is, for whatever reason,
Ireland.
Oh,
Let's go to
sorry. Oh,
Ireland
God,
first.
God, God, God. Yes, Ireland.
You are welcome.
Which is, to be honest, one that I'm a little bit happier to talk about. Dominic, since you reminded us about Ireland, let's go to you.
Love, 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 love it. Leslie Roy is amazing. I love her. I love the song. It's so engaging. It gives me confidence. It gives me like energy. I don't know. There's something about the song which really is just amazing. And I really, really hope it's gonna qualify. It would be deserved, especially considering that her staging is one of the most unique ones, I would say. It's
Mhm.
very, very complicated. I really hope she can nail all the camera spots and stuff because it's very complicated. It's a bit
Mhm.
like Mount Samarov that you really have to be in the exact angle because otherwise the effect would be gone. And also like the singing, I hope she's gonna improve because I remember in the first rehearsal it was a bit off. So really, really hope she can nail the notes because I really want to see this in the final.
Mhm.
And I have some doubts though because it's Ireland. We know the record. Like Ireland is not that successful in the last years, except for
Mhm.
Together. So I just try to get
Excuse me.
these negative thoughts out of my mind and just like remember how much I love the song. So I really hope it's gonna get through.
Yeah. Well, I'll get to my thoughts after yours. Fun. Sorry, I'm having some a little bit of gas. It's fine. Go ahead.
I love this as well. Like this staging is probably one of my favorites this year, if not my absolute favorite.
Mhm.
We obviously haven't seen Semi 2 yet, but that will come. Yeah, I love this song. I think it's a very happy up-tempo song with a lot of meaning. Her vocals were good yesterday, from what I heard. And I hope she will be good today as well, because I do think this is more of a televote pleaser than a jury pleaser.
Mhm.
And as Dominic said, yeah, the staging is very interesting. She needs to focus a lot on the staging, which I think does impact her focus quite a lot, because her focus aren't perfect. They are good, but they weren't perfect, which I think is because like she's focuses on the staging so much. You can also see that in her expressions, like she's constantly thinking, what do I need to do? What am I doing now? Where am I going now?
Mhm.
But I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. It's just something that I noticed. But I do hope that this gets through, because I do think it will be really deserved and does deserve a very good spot in the final.
Yeah. I like you guys. I do really love this. I love what they're bringing. I would say it's probably a lot more technical and demanding than Manzemerlov and Heroes, just because it's so much about what space you're occupying in the camera and syncing that with these moving objects, and it's not dependent on graphics very much. And I saw that there was a very intentional decision to do that, to not depend on LEDs and to do something that had never been done before. And it really is something that is risky, and a song that I really enjoy. I am worried about the vocals because, and Clara mentioned this yesterday, it does seem like she has a hard time getting the full sounds that I think the song could benefit from, to get that feeling across of committing to the path that you're on and following it through. And that could potentially cost this its qualification. But I do want to be optimistic as well. It's risky. It's the kind of thing that challenges Eurovision, and like I want this to be rewarded, especially because I know that Ireland is one of those countries where Eurovision does not have the best reputation, and when Ireland doesn't do well, that it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you don't see other artists who are willing to step up to the plate. So fingers crossed. And also let's mention, for Tommy's sake, because it's also Tommy's birthday, and
Happy
those of you happy birthday, Tommy. Those of you who have been giving me birthday messages very kindly, I'd love you to send them his way as well. Pascal saying Ireland really stands out for me. Takum one saying, for me again, it's the case of I like the artist but not the song. It's a non-qualifier. Neil Era says that in his case, they struggle to connect with this kind of song and finds the staging distracting. Am Rifki saying Ireland's staging is only well seen on screen. I don't think it will look good from the venue. It doesn't need to look good from the venue because that's only like 3,000 people in one country.
I was just about to say that it's very good timing to do this year. Or that maybe last year it would have been good without any audience if it would have been happened, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the right moment because hopefully we are going to have a full venue next year. So then it would be like a bit out of place again. So it's the exact perfect timing.
Yeah. And ultimately, like that, while sucks for whoever's in the audience, it doesn't really make a difference when it comes to the voting because it is a television show. And a lot of people who have gone to see Eurovision in person will tell you that like it isn't the same experience because you're seeing everything around it rather than being immersed in it as the television audience is supposed to be. Lots of people having faith. Hello to Against Bullying. Nice to see you. Okay, let's now move on to Cyprus.
Cyprus.
Yes. Start us off, Vaughn.
I think this is magnificently done. The song is great, but it's not. Well, it is actually something new. It's got the familiar sounds we have, but then it's also got very interesting parts, as in the Mama Mamacita and the children choir singing "I Love El Diablo." The staging is very good done. It's very interesting with the mirror effect and the backing dancers, and you can also see her doing a lot of contortionist things and putting her in positions I could never imagine myself in. Her vocals are great, though I have to say she does have a lot of support from the backing vocalist. I think Laura Barker, the writer of the song, is her backing vocalist, and she does support her a lot.
That would probably be the only Canadian who is taking to a microphone this year. Although Vasile is our honorary Canadian because he lived in Toronto for, I think he said 10 years, and he did his vocal training just down the street from where I am.
Well, he's representing you then.
Yeah, unofficially. But anyway, sorry.
And I really like the end where they remove the mirror and the El Diablo lights up. I think that's a very cool effect. Yeah, and I think this is one of the most definite qualifiers for me because it's just I wouldn't necessarily call it the Fuego effect, but it's kind of the same because a lot of people were like, "Oh, this song is great," but the staging just lifted it up 10 times more. Now it's in the odds. It's like in the top 5. I think it's a potential winner in the odds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily see it as a potential winner. I would see it as a potential top 3 in the semi.
Mm-hmm. And to me, that says it's a song that is well performed, well staged, and appealing to a Eurovision audience. But that doesn't necessarily spell winner. I think that probably explains why it's doing so well in the odds. And I feel most confidently about this making it to the final because of all those reasons. But I do not see it as a winner. Dominic.
Well, it's one of my winners. So yeah, I love it since the beginning. It's on my loop. It's probably the most played song of my playlist this year. I think she's delivering it well. I was a bit worried about the vocals, not gonna lie, but well, it sounds amazing. With or without the backings, I really don't care. It sounds great. No. So whatever. And I like the staging. It's something no one else is doing. You would expect maybe it's something repetitive, like other countries would have done the same, but well, they have something you can remember, like the one with the mirrors. So I think that's going to be enough for the ordinary viewer. So I think she's going to be a contender to win the semi, and I'm pretty confident she's going to be at least top 10, if not top 5. Well, for me, she could win, but I don't see that happening.
I do think win the semi.
Yeah, I think she's going to be top 3 in the semi, if not first.
Takamon agreeing with Tvan. Sorry.
What I also was going to say is that I do think that like the staging, like the mirror effect and the El Diablo in the end does really elevate because they could have easily just put her on stage with the 4 dancers and it would never have been as good as it is now. So I think they made a perfect choice.
I think that in terms of visuals, that the addition of the mirror and the use of the mirror, plus the reveal of the fiery El Diablo in the background, definitely gives this a visual edge to Malta, which we will get to, obviously. But I think that from a creative point of view, this is done in a much better way. It doesn't, while it uses projections and LEDs, it also uses reflections too, and it just offers many different opportunities that we don't. Those, in my opinion, are not the typical Eurovision things that we see, and I'm really happy about that. Lots of love for Cyprus. Peter M saying, I can't get past the bad lyrics in the song, but Cyprus definitely deserves a spot in the top 10 from what I've seen so far.
I mean, we've seen worse lyrics in songs. I mean, it's not something really new, but we've seen worse.
Quote, I am someone.
What's that? I'll pull this back up again, Eris, in a second. But that one from Lithuania, from 2013, I am in love with you because of my shoes.
Yeah, I'm wearing today. The other is something about the socks, I think.
There's something. No, he calls the shoes. One is love, and the other is pain. But it sounded a little bit like he was saying the other is Spain. Man, have we come far in just 10 years?
Well, in 26, we literally had "We Are the Winners of Eurovision" as a song. So
yeah, we've come
the best Lithuanian result. So.
Eris pointing out that Elena had gone through a lot of terrible things. She manages to deliver such a stunning performance, is worth admiring for, and because of that, she is his winner. Yeah, I mean, look, Elena is delivering. As is everybody who is involved in that live production. It's, the dancing is phenomenal, visuals. Anyway, I think the consensus is quite clear on this one. Lots of love for Cyprus. Not that I am that surprised. Moving on to Norway, which has been another one that has really kind of gone back and forth. I'd love to know, Dominic, how you feel about Norway.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I would have liked a different song to win MGP, but the song is good. Sorry, I had to.
You gotta move on. You gotta move on. It's been 2 months now.
I did. It's fine. Okay. I like the song. I always like the song and always will. I still have worries about qualification. I might see this as a shock. What? This is not gonna qualify. Song. So there's something about it which is like a bit too much. Too much cheese. I like cheese, but it's a bit too much for me. Like the staging is a bit like over the top. I think juries are not gonna like it. I kind of have the feeling that televote might get it through, but only like 8, 9, 10. And jury will be not enough to get this through. This is like my prediction. I must say, vocally, he's very good. I like the theme and the lightning, like from the background. I really like this effect. It looks amazing. Really props to him. I think it's going to be borderline. So I don't see it as a non-qualifier, but I can see it happening. So we will see.
Yeah, and we were talking about. I can't remember which one of you mentioned that. How many jury favorites we were talking about. I don't see this one as being a jury favorite either. But I am a bit of two minds about it, because one thing that Gal mentions when we were talking about Tix, Gal, who's a member of our team from Israel, he was saying that the song and Tix as a performer has a little bit of a Post Malone vibe to him. And like I get where he's coming from because of the kind of melodic quality that it has. Like he is a great pop music writer, I would say. And the addition of those like trap and hip hop 808s, it does make the song, I feel, more modern than people give it credit for. But that is what it is. But I do agree as well. Like I don't see it as being a favorite in either regard, and so that might cause it to just miss out on qualification. Of course, there's a lot of people mentioning the little love affair between Tix and Effendi, which is very cute. Fawn, your thoughts on Norway?
I've never been that much of a fan of the song. I don't mind it, but I don't particularly like it either. Like, it's a solid performance. It's nothing new to us. Like, we've seen this performance in the national final. Like, it's vocally, it's good. I did really like the part where he took off his glasses and see the ticks in his eyes on the stage. I think that's a really smart move of him. As to qualifying, I'm not sure. As to like 70% of these countries in this semi-final, I'm not sure if it's going to qualify. It could qualify. It could also not qualify. It wouldn't surprise me either way.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
yeah,
you might as well just close your eyes and just pick 10 countries out of a hat and be like, there you go.
Whatever.
Jeez, but again, like this is exciting. This is the kind of show that we want to see.
Yes.
Despite the fact that it will likely result in some heartbreak. I'm very happy to see this kind of thing. And yeah, about the taking off his glasses, because the glasses was obviously a big criticism of Rafał from Poland. And I do really believe in that, in getting that connection. And as they say, the eyes are the window to the soul, or the mirror of the soul, however it is in your country. Yeah, like that moment where he takes it off. I don't know if everybody is going to make the connection between tics and Tourette syndrome, because I think that depends on people's understanding of the condition. But
it took me way too long than it should to realize. So
yeah,
I don't know if people for the first time seeing that will make the connection, but maybe if he takes off the glasses and you can see his eyes, like you really saw his eyes like squeaky and closing his eyes.
Yeah.
So I think I would personally make the connection seeing that, but I'm not sure how everyone else.
And I also know that this might not necessarily be the case for tics, but I know that for some people with Tourette's, when you're nervous, that can be one of the triggers to set off those tics much, and they become much more frequent than they would be when you're more relaxed.
Yeah,
so
in an interview, he said it's mainly because of the lights on the stage that trigger his tics. But I do have to say that I absolutely love him as a person and as an artist. Like he's probably one of the sweetest, one of the kindest, funniest artists this year. I'm just not the massive fan of his song. It's just not my type.
It seems that there's lots of love for Norway, and I think one thing that maybe gives me a little bit more faith in this one qualifying is that this is a winner for a surprising amount of people, and that was even before we saw like the music video put out, which I think a lot of people really warmed up to the story, to Tix's story. So I'm going to try and pronounce your name as best as I can. Dietalina. I don't know. That sounds good. Saying Tix is my winner. Yes, it's cheesy, but the melody is something special, especially when I know the backstory, his Tix in his life. He's just a lovely guy. Yeah, so I think that for people who know that story, that could work in their favor. I don't know if that story has yet reached the audience, and whether or not him removing the glasses will cause that connection to be made is a question. Neil Era also mentioning that Tix wrote and produced it. A real professional jury made by composers should value this kind of things. I mean, they don't necessarily know how many personnel are behind each song, but not that really matters. What really matters is what you produce out of it. And obviously, some people can write a song by themselves and be really successful, like Luisa Sobral. Well, I mean, there were other people. Sorry, don't let me complicate this. Let's just move on. Sorry, I just anytime I sense myself like speaking and maybe not knowing the full story, I always have to backpedal a little bit. But after Norway, we have Croatia. Another one of these songs that I see a lot of people saying multiple things about. Fawn, where do you stand on Croatia?
Personally, I really like the song, and I think the staging is very interesting. That within regards that they are only using the smaller stage, like they are not using the big stage at all. Vocals were good yesterday, but it is a quite difficult song to sing because there are a lot of high notes and a lot of long notes, and she does have to nail all of them today. Whereas the qualifying, I'm on the border as well. Like it could qualify, it could also not qualify. I would personally like to see it qualify because I think it's a very solid, good performance. She looks stunning. First of all, like she looks amazing. The dances are really effective as well. But I just, yeah, like most songs in the semi, I'm undecided.
So now that we're entering the second half, I do see this kind of cluster of pop songs with solo female performers and, generally speaking, really strong vocals. I think that this one has a little bit of an edge because of its visuals. And I would say, based on what we saw yesterday in the jury show, much more well-rounded vocally Albina was when compared to some of the others. I do take your point, Twan, about how there are a lot of high notes, and maybe she wasn't getting those all the time. But I think that my hope is that juries are not writing off people for like if they have an overall good performance, but then certain notes are not like big mess ups, but they just barely miss it.
Yeah.
Like I think they should consider that as the whole package. But obviously, I don't know how it works on that end. I'm leaning much more towards a qualification than a non-qualification for this one, for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned, Fawn. The fact that they make quite an effective use of the runway and the translucent LEDs. Dominic, your thoughts?
Yeah, love it. I hope she's going to qualify. She's amazing. I love the song since the beginning. I'm happy that she won Doha. I'm surprised, though, that they made a lot of changes from the Doha performance, because this performance looked like, okay, send it to Eurovision, done. And they changed quite a lot, didn't they? So especially, I think the outfit would have been great. I like this one as well, but I'm just surprised because I thought they already had a full package. I think it's gonna stand out to the other songs. It has a very 80s style, and I think it's the only song in this semifinal who is going into this field. I think she is capable to sing it vocally, even though you missed one or two notes. Are you entertained by this performance? Yes or no? And I hope the answer is yes. So I think Croatia is in a very good position right now. And in the beginning, she wasn't, I remember. There were a lot of worries. And now she's leaning towards the qualification side because of the rehearsals and stuff. And I fully agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to quickly say something about Dominic's statement on that. The performance was ready to go to Eurovision. If that performance had gone to Eurovision, I don't think it would have stood out as much, because that's a pretty much basic performance. And because there are so many bops this Eurovision, I think making the staging this way just on the runway will really make it stand out for the public. Yeah, and they're like, oh, that's a song on the runway. That's a song on the different part of the stage.
Yeah, and I think on the one hand, I see what you're saying, Dominic, in the sense that it was a fully visually engaging performance that we saw at Doha. However, I think in this case, I think that they saw more potential. That they wanted to utilize the space and make it unique, and I think that they really succeeded in doing that, because we don't see a performance that is so centered around the runway. So yes, they could have done more of a copy paste, but I think that this was the right decision to make those changes. Lots of love for Croatia in the live chat. Ry Bailey says it's in his top 5. Queen Bee talking about Israel and Romania. We will get to those. Pedro saying Croatia is a borderline qualifier for tonight, which, I mean, for a lot of people, every song is a borderline qualifier, except for Cyprus, apparently. and Malta.
Yeah.
Queen Bee saying sure qualifier. Nicola saying I can't see both Croatia and Israel qualifying. We will get to that. Euroboy saying I love Croatia and Albina. I hope she qualifies. Dietalina saying Croatia has visuals, Effendi has song, and Israel has vocals. All three might be equally good, but not all will be in the final. Potentially, yeah. I think that in this case, it's a matter of the votes being split, where people are gonna like those performances, but to varying degrees. And who knows? Maybe that means that all of them are gonna not make it through. I would be surprised if that were the case. All right. So now, after Croatia, we have Belgium. I'm surprised at how long we've been at this for. We're only at Belgium, and it's been more than an hour. But I'm glad that there's so much excitement about this semifinal, because again, this is the kind of semifinal that we hope for. Dominic, start us off on Belgium. Do you see this qualifying? Do you like it? What do you think?
Okay, I must admit, last year Belgium was one of my least favorites. I really didn't like the song. However, I really like this one. It's one of the biggest improvement, I would say. I think Gerke, Twan, help me.
Geike
is a great singer. She is very established. I really like the mood it's creating. I think the staging suits the song very well. And I think it's a jury pleaser, and this time I mean it, jury pleaser. And I think the televote will be decent enough to get it through. So I'm kind of confident that this is going to get through, especially like we know that Belgium has some struggles in the past, especially with the staging. And I think they're doing a very decent job this time. So I don't think the staging will be the reason why this is not going to qualify. So if it's not going to qualify, it's just based on the competition.
Yeah, I think that's a fair observation. I know that in my case, like this is a song that I want to see in the final, as I've mentioned before, because it brings variety. And yeah, I don't think that the staging is really the make or break factor here, because it is very elegant. Maybe not a wow factor that people tend to like from Eurovision, but it suits the song. I can't see them staging it in a way that would be that different and more effective. But one thing that's interesting is that, and maybe you don't know this, Dominic, but in the postcard, we see a little fluorescent light that spells "Mad About You," which is, of course, a very well-known Hooverphonic song. And I wonder, and maybe, Ton, you can fill us in on this. I'm wondering if their status as an established band might, secure a pretty good televote score. What do you think?
I don't think so, because we've seen quite a lot of like famous people in Eurovision, and that doesn't necessarily mean they'll do well. However, I do think that like everyone like knows them, so that I do think that's an advantage. And I think their song is amazing. Like it's one of the best songs this year, in my opinion. It's like in my top 10. Like Heike is one of the most experienced performers. She looks stunning. The staging really fits the vibe of the song. Like it's dark. Like there's these 4 platforms. I do think the backing vocalist is a bit too loud at certain points. Like at some points, the backing vocalist is a bit louder than Heike, which I don't think is good. It's still amazing, and I would dare to say that this is a qualifier.
I'm curious if you know, just because talking about the Netherlands, I believe the backup singer for Belgium this year, I believe that she was also on Duncan Lawrence's team. Do you know anything about that?
I haven't heard anything about it, but she looks very familiar.
Yeah, she does. Nonetheless, I want to see this qualifying. I see a way through for it. Let's dance to sing.
And also, Heike is very like big or very famous in the Netherlands because she's done some collabs with famous Dutch artists.
Oh, okay, so as like as a performer in her own right. So yeah, I mean, I think that means good things for the Netherlands who will be voting in this semifinal. Let's dance saying Belgium is good but not good enough. Nil Era saying I was so confident that with Belgium a few days back, but now I'm getting nervous about its chances. I don't know. What are you even saying here, Latvian? Adam 2022? Do you mean like Antwerp?
No, I think it's like Brussels has this Atom thing, like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the venue.
No. It's like a landmark. It's like a site.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's like the Eiffel Tower, but for Belgium, it's like this very famous thing, which looks like an atom.
Euroboy4 saying, I hope Belgium qualifies. They offer something unique to the contest this year. Rye Bailey saying, I love Belgium, but it won't qualify, sadly. Michael Forbes saying, Belgium is a middle-of-the-road song, sung well, but it doesn't have enough impact compared to the others in the semi. Tacom one. Sorry, I'm catching up.
Don't worry. I think it's gonna get a lot of points from older people. I kind of have the feeling that it's appealing to the older generation a bit more than to the younger ones. And keep in mind that Eurovision is a show like every age group is watching it, more or less. So I don't think everyone is up for songs like Croatia or Cyprus. I don't think older people will be like, yes, Queen and stuff. They will be like, oh, I really like this song in particular. And I think, I wouldn't count it out. I really think that you have to consider every age group. And I think Belgium is going to get the votes from older people.
Yeah, I can see
you
the
got my
thinking in
point,
that.
right?
They would
Yeah,
they would
okay.
get my vote certainly, but
Same.
yeah. Now let's move on to Israel. I have to be honest. I am going to explode, and I have to go to the bathroom. So Dominic, you're being upgraded to the host for a little while. I will be
Yay!
right back. Take it away and share your thoughts about. It is Israel that comes after Belgium, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. I will be right back.
Okay, so much responsibility now. Okay, so I really like Israel's song. I must say though that last year was a bit better. Fikelebi was a
I agree.
bop. I love this song. And I
Same.
must say Set Me Free was in the beginning one of my least favorites out of the selection. But they revamped it quite a few times. And this version is the best one they have done with this song. So it came from a non-qualifier for me to a borderline, if not sure qualifier. So I can really see a way pulling it through because there's something memorable about the song right now. Like especially this ha 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 ha. It's really
Yeah,
memorable,
they
very
will be
catchy.
remember that. Yeah.
Exactly. And also she's got this, it's the longest or like the highest note
Yeah, I
ever,
think it's
like
the
for at
highest
least
note
for the
in
next
Eurovision ever.
25 years or something. Yes, she really has this unique factor about it.
And she's got like her vocals are on point, like they are amazing, as we've said. Her whistle
Yeah.
notes, amazing. Ooh, there goes my headphones. I'm just getting so excited about Eurovision.
Yeah, I was just saying like, ooh.
I absolutely love the dress change. It's at the perfect moment. It looks really good. I love her crown that they've done with her hair.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a qualifier because it's such a strong semi-final, and personally, I do not think the song does justice for her artistry. Like, she's such an amazing artist. She's got this incredible voice, but this song just doesn't do, especially earlier versions like this version with the whistle notes does a bit more justice, but I still don't think it's a full potential.
Yeah.
I loved Fikelebi. I know I said in the past that I prefer Set Me Free over Fikelebi. I don't feel that way anymore. I still like the song. I still think it's great, but I'm not sure as to whether it will qualify or not.
Yeah,
it might just pull through.
Yeah, my issue was in the beginning, it was way too basic. So I was really like, come on, she can do so much more. And now I think with this version, you can really show that. And I really appreciate that fact that they are going to take the criticism and then change the song into something better, in my opinion, that she can really showcase her voice. And I don't think a lot of singers can do what she can. So why not showing it to Europe, basically? So, yeah.
So just refresh my memory. Both of you are kind of on the fence with this one, as we are.
Borderline, but more leaning to qualification. I think
I'm borderline, but more leaning towards non-qualification.
Oh, fair. Okay. Still, you decide.
Oh, jeez. So
the pressure.
The thing is, yeah, I don't think that she had her best performance yesterday, sadly. My curiosity is going to be what the rest of the juries think about the structure of the song and the kind of melody that it has. And yeah, like I think that as has been highlighted, this is not the right way to choose a song for Eurovision, to like not have the artist included and then have the public vote on it, and then because as she said, like she didn't feel like it had her signature on it when it was presented to her, and they had to revamp it. I mean, substantially in some ways, maybe not like they obviously didn't rewrite the song, but there were a number of notable changes, and this would have been a very different song had they not done that. As far as, you know, I don't think that this is going to get the jury support that they were hoping for, even with those whistle notes. As for the televote, I mean, I do see, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but a lot of people are mentioning the political circumstances around Israel right now that could have a factor, as it always does when it comes to Eurovision. It might not be the deciding factor, but it could definitely have an impact on their score. Nonetheless,
you can't downgrade a country. That's the thing. I think people who are really affected by this or whatever wouldn't have voted for it in the first place. So I don't think everyone would be like, I would have voted for Israel, but then this happened, and now I'm not going to do it. I don't think that's going to be the case at all.
Well, it's sad, but it is like we've seen it in the past. It's sad, but it's true, and we cannot gets around it, sadly.
Yeah.
I mean, like ultimately, if this is your favorite song, then I think people are going to vote for it. And of course, it should be mentioned that whether or not the artists deserve to bear the brunt of what's going on politically, most people would say no. Of course, when it comes to Eurovision, you are representing your country, and unfortunately, that comes with political baggage. However, I do think that maybe for people who were a little bit, if you were on the fence about the song, there's probably another one that you were going to vote for anyway. But who knows? Obviously, in 2021, it's difficult to be neutral or apolitical, and I think that's one of the challenges that the EBU has as an organization. I mean, Nilara is mentioning that Israel can qualify only because of Eden. Her charisma is insane. No other girl can beat her in charisma. I think that there are some we have some really charismatic girls here. I would definitely put Destiny in that category.
I would say Destiny and Manisha, but Eden is definitely up there. She's absolutely lovely.
Yeah, she is. She is the best aspect of what Israel has.
And she's 17, 18? How old is she? 18.
No,
yeah.
Or 19?
19.
So, 19? Younger than 20 for sure. And that is to be younger than that and be on that stage and have that kind of charisma and sing such a song with the highest note ever in Eurovision, that deserves a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Camilo Gomez saying, I don't think that Israel's song is good enough, is enough. Okay, we were just talking about Belgium, so I really love Belgium this year. That song is in my top 10, maybe top 5. Takom One saying, I agree with Vaughn. She is amazing, but Israel's song is not good enough. Also an NQ for me. I'm hoping juries and tellers will treat Eden with respect. Kit is saying, despite what is happening back in Israel. I mean, I don't think that she will be booed. As we've seen in the past. But nonetheless, we know that politics complicates things, and we hope that all of you, consider people's feelings and don't make assumptions about where people stand on certain issues. Michael Forbes, I'm not a fan of Israel. Enter sorry, the high pitch sounds really great on me. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. It looks like you're from either Greece or Cyprus. I really think that Israel will get 11th place with both juries and televote. Not sad about that. I mean, I think this is one of those songs that fits into that cluster that's going to split the votes. And I'm not sure if this will be the favorite, but it could make it through.
Yeah, but you can be 11th with both sides. And if the discrepancy is so big, it would still be enough. We haven't had this situation yet, but I can't wait to have this happen because of the new voting system, and now it's possible, I think.
And if there was ever a semifinal where that would happen, it would be this one.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on because we're almost there. Romania, Dominic, I know that you're a big fan of this song, so tell me how you feel.
I love this song, and I know she struggles with the vocals, and I know she's very young, and some might say, okay, maybe it's too soon to get to the stage, but I disagree with all of that. I love the song. I really do. I think it's unique. I really appreciate the effort, the risk they're taking, because they could have done it so much easier. Like, she's just standing there singing and the dancers doing their own stuff, but they decided otherwise, and I really appreciate it. And I think the message of the song is very important. I think a lot of young people can identify to it. Even though that she has some difficulties with the vocals, I think her voice is very unique. It has something you can remember immediately out of all 39 participants. And I think it would be a deserved qualification. I really have hope for it. And I don't want to imagine a final without her.
I have my feelings that, Tvan, you feel a bit differently about that.
But I love the song. I really, really, really love the song. We've got to give her credit for yesterday because she had so many technical issues, like don't trust technology. No one can help it, but she had a lot of technical issues, and she performed again. And given that, I think she did a decent performance. Like, it wasn't perfect, but she was on time, and her vocals were decent. I really hope she pulls through because I love the song so much, and I think her vocals are decent. Like, I love her voice, and her vocals were decent enough to pass through. I'm not sure. I think this will also be the one, like, It will do decent with the juries, and it will also do decent with the teller. I don't think it will do better with one of those. I'm not sure on the qualifying aspect. I love the song, so I hope it qualifies. But
based on what we saw yesterday, like, yes, the technical issues were a real shame, and we were thinking that that kind of sealed their fate in terms of not qualifying. But she was given that opportunity to go again, and she recovered absolutely. Sadly, I have to say that I don't see this doing that well with the juries. I see this doing quite poorly with the juries, sadly. And I say this as a fan of the song myself. It does seem like this is a performer who is a bit inexperienced and could, not to say, because obviously she has a career going for herself already, but I just, she's not necessarily at the level that we see other artists who are doing things more comfortably. And this is really challenging. So, in terms of movement and vocally speaking as well, I have my doubts as to whether or not this will qualify. I saw Neil Era mentioning that the Romanian diaspora might help this through in Italy, Germany, Belgium, or Ireland. That might be what does it. Of course, like when we're talking about a music competition, we don't want that to be the reason why something gets through. The fact that people who are have cultural ties to that country are voting for it out of patriotism. It should be because it's musically good and the performance is on point. I do sadly think that this is gonna miss out. Let's Dance loves Roxanne. Latvian saying appreciate all artists for the hard work at Eurovision.
Yes.
Rye Bailey saying Roxanne is struggling. I don't think she will qualify. And Olivia saying decent is not good enough in a semi that has in a semi as strong as this one. Yep.
I just also think that the case with Roxanne is that she's not experienced enough.
Yeah.
I don't like to say such things because, but with her you can really see it that like it's not that she doesn't feel comfortable, but you can see that she doesn't have a lot of experience performing on stages. As to where Destiny, she's like the same age. But Destiny has so much experience and she kills the stage.
Yeah.
But so I hope that Roxanne can come back in like 5, 6, 7, 8 years and then come back stronger than ever and maybe even do top 10 because I think she has all the potential to do so.
Yeah, it's and seeing her in interviews, she really believes in the message of the song, and I like that they added that tag at the end from the music video for every cry that went unheard. It's a nice touch. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the thing that saves it, but we could be wrong. Let's answer Anonymous's question, who's asking, what's our favorite song? Real quick. In this semifinal, well, actually, overall, it's Ukraine. Dominic.
Cyprus and Malta. I have to name them both.
Okay. And Fawn.
Song Slovenia, performance Ukraine.
All right. Cool. Lots of faith for Roxanne, it sounds. Takam One saying her second try yesterday proves that Roxanne is simply great. Yes, Romania is qualifying. All right. And then after Romania, we have Azerbaijan. Tavon, start us off.
This is one I'm not sure how to feel about. Like, I really, really, really like the song. Her voice is great. Like, she delivers the song well. I just don't feel like this song is her, if you get what I mean. Like, I don't feel like she likes. I could be wrong, but I don't feel like she likes singing this song. She just looks a bit uncomfortable on stage. Like, the dancing looks a bit uncomfortable. I don't like that there are a lot of white shots. Like, there's a lot of white shots in the performance. Like, it looks good, but it's just in the semi as strong as this. I don't not think this is good enough to pull through. It might just pull through, but it might also not.
It's interesting because I see a lot of confidence from some people about this making it through. And by that, I mean not necessarily people from Azerbaijan, because we know that that's one of those countries where the people from the country are very confident in it every year. But Spain.
Romania. Okay.
I'm sure Spain will qualify this year.
Yes, me too.
No bueno.
In another video, I'll share my thoughts, my positive thoughts about Spain, because I do think I do think some good things about Spain this year, which I can't say every year. But we're talking about Azerbaijan. Dominic, your thoughts?
So I must say, when you really, and of course you're going to do it, compare last year to this year, it's the most similar one. It's the least progression, and they actually taking parts of the song from last year in this one, which is
Before you go on, can I just mention as well? These are not the same songwriters either.
No.
Interesting, because it sounds very similar.
Yeah,
very similar.
I do know that both songwriters are Dutch. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds very Dutch, I must say.
Anyway,
the thing is, I think Azerbaijan has the same problem as Sweden. It's too safe. It's too basic. That's my issue with it. And I think this one is even more basic than Sweden. So I can see like Azerbaijan getting a lot of 1 and 2 points. Like it's fine, but it's nothing impressive. And I think it's gonna get overshadowed by Malta, Cyprus, and so on. And then it's like, well, it's okay. And then it's gonna get 1 and 2 points, and I don't think that's gonna be enough. I agree with Tran that she is a bit uncomfortable with the dancing, I think, even though I think she improved a lot. And vocally, she's really delivering. And I remember that there were some doubts that she's going to deliver it, and I think she's going to do fine. But again, very strong semifinal, and I don't think like just being Azerbaijan will be enough. We have seen it in the past. Like, actually, this semifinal reminds me a bit of 2018, the first semifinal. It was really a bloodbath, if not the biggest bloodbath in history. And I think this is going to get close to it. And I think it's going to be borderline again. And I don't have it on my list as a qualifier.
I think the biggest reason that I do not have it as a qualifier is not that I don't like the song, but it feels like the broadcaster told her, go to Eurovision, do this, and sing this song. And not necessarily that it was her wanting to do that.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest criticisms have to do with the song itself. I will say that one of the things that this performance gets right, which I wouldn't have said based off of those first rehearsals, is that it does give us a kind of experience that we know from Eurovision, as far as when we get that build at the end and we get some pyro going on, and the camera work picks up, the dancing picks up, it works. And despite my own feelings about the song, I do actually think that it's probably more likely to qualify than not. But I do think, for a number of the reasons mentioned, that we don't need this song in the final. It feels like they came up with a hook and they put everything else around it because they love that hook. And the hook is really effective. I've been going around the house being like, like, yeah, it works. It's just like, this is not anyone at their best, I have to say. Sorry, Azerbaijan. But I despite that, I do think that we're going to see it in the final. Anonymous saying that they think Azerbaijan will qualify. They like the song, and Clara loves the song. I think Tommy also loves the song as well. League of Legends support Carrie says Azerbaijan and Israel have both great singers but annoying songs. Marco Stanley pointing out that the neighbor and diaspora votes are sometimes simply about a real cultural tendency to like the entry, not nepotism necessarily. Good point. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Although sometimes it is kind of the national pride thing, and there's really nothing you can do to avoid that. It's, obviously some countries have larger diasporas than others. Here we see members of large communities of certain cultures and much smaller ones of others. So it's just a fact of life. And I wish that it wasn't a factor when it came to Eurovision, but I don't really know if there's anything that you can do about that. JP Cross saying, "Oh, you mean the same hook as last year?"
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even the robotic voice is the same.
Yeah.
In the Cleopatra sound, it's really like literally the same, which is good. Like last year was great, and I think this one is not a bad song. It's just too basic. Like, good is good, but not like amazing. That's the issue. I haven't said anything like it's bad. It's not. But again, semi-final of death is such a strong semi-final. You really need to nail it, and I think it's again, good.
Yeah, totally. Well, we're on an hour and a half, and we have 2 more countries to talk about. No, but honestly, I've really been enjoying this discussion. I see lots of people in the live chat. Please let us know what you think about Ukraine, because that's who we're talking about next. I don't remember who I started off with on the last one. I
think it was me.
Okay, Dominic. I know that this is not going to be starting on a great note, but please tell me.
Okay, so I love Ukraine. Ukraine is a powerhouse at Eurovision. I don't like the song. Sorry. I have it as a non-qualifier, and honestly, I'm a bit surprised that it's like a sure qualifier for a lot of people for several reasons. So first of all, like I love their style. It's different. It's unique. So that's amazing. I like that they're taking a risk. I'm not a fan of the staging. I must say, there was a lot of hype about the staging and the rehearsals. I really don't like it because it looks so tiny. They're all in this white field. I have no idea how to say it, but I don't think it's that effective. And I must say, I'm really not a fan of this white voices thing. It reminds me of Poland 2019, and I know that there were a lot of lovers to it, and they didn't qualify. And I think that's going to be the case here. I know it's like, wow, how can you say that? And it's very high in the odds. But honestly, if there's one shock non-qualifier, I think it's this one. So I think it's going to get very low jury points. I see it as a qualifier in terms of televote. I think it's going to be very polarizing, and as we have already said, you can downgrade a country. So I think it's going to be very high in it, but I don't think it's going to be enough, and I see it very, very low in jury. So I might see it struggling, and I know I'm in the minority here, but that's fine.
No, but honestly, you've raised some good points. This is my favorite song this year, so I kind of hope that you're wrong in every regard.
Sorry, not sorry.
No, but honestly, like, no, a lot of those thoughts have crossed my mind as well. I'll get to those in a bit, but Tvan, you go ahead.
Well, I'm just about going to disagree with every point that Dominic's just made.
You are so welcome, Tvan.
I love you, except for the point that I love Eurovision, Ukrainian Eurovision, because I really do. I love this song. It's like one of my favorites. The staging, I can see what Dominic is coming from, but personally, I think it's really effective and it's really great. I love the visuals. I think not many people love Kate's dress, but I personally really love it. I think it works. Like, it's different and it's really like it jumps out at you from the white staging, but I love it. I'm personally a big fan of the white voice. Like, I know many people that aren't. Like, my mom hates it. Like, when I play the song, she says, "Oh, turn it off." I cannot listen to it. But I personally love it. I also love Poland 2019. Her vocals, like, regardless of the fact that you like it or not, the type of singing, there's no denying in the fact that her vocals are on point. Qualifying, I think it's a sure qualifier. Personally, I can see this as a televoting winner potential. Obviously, the song won't appeal to everyone, because there will obviously people that are like, what am I listening to?
Like me.
What is this?
Or like this person who's saying Ukraine's song is the
oh, come on. It's not that bad. I disagree with the statement. Okay.
But yeah, I definitely see this as a qualifier and potentially a top 10 in the final. I know people will disagree with me, but I really feel like that.
Okay. Let's get to some comments. Say hello to Chris Gogino, who is saying Ukraine is one of my favorites. Mine as well. As I've been saying many times before, lots of people talking about Bulgaria 2007.
Love that one as well.
No.
is that the na na na
Water.
na 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 na
yeah,
that is not a comparison that I am feeling personally, but
I think it is.
Well, it's the same type of singing, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I as this is my favorite, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm concerned about it. I think that this has a lot of things that work really well for Eurovision, and I do anticipate that despite the Marmite qualities of it, I do think that it can get a very good televote score. But yeah, the jury score has always been a bit of a concern for me. We've never seen any song like this at Eurovision, period. So throw all of your comparisons out to Hungary, whatever, and Bulgaria, whatever. This is a first.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and also like I've made that comparison as well when speaking about Tulia, because that was also white voice, but like the all things considered, this has never been done before. This is a song that has an incredible build in terms of tempo. Also one that had some technical issues yesterday, but can we just commend the fact that for a song that has such a drastic tempo change, there was a few moments where Kate was out of sync, and then she picked it up right away. And I think that
I don't know why they performed again, because I thought it was already perfect, but I can see that they did, because it was even more perfect the second round through.
Yeah, like I think that they didn't necessarily need to perform again, but obviously I'm glad that they did, because being in those moments, it does take you out of your performance and can cause some nerves. So yes. I'm going to be optimistic that this makes it through, because I have seen a lot of love for this song, especially, and I think that this is one that could also benefit from diaspora voting. Although, again, I would love it to be because people actually like the song.
I think the biggest difference with the white voice in this song and in Poland 2019 is that Poland 2019 was more of a ballad and didn't really have a hook. And this song has one of the most recognizable hooks in this year's Eurovision, with the flute, etc. And people will definitely remember that. Oh, that's the song with the flute.
Yeah.
People will remember that.
I'm just laughing a little bit because I know that between my partner and I, we always go, Balishe, Balishe.
Yeah, but Poland 2019 was a ballad, was it?
Well, not really a ballad, but kind of more in the ballad style than Shum, I would say.
I remember that it was a bit like rockish,
more traditional. I don't think ballad is a good word. I think more like the thing that you think of when you say traditional.
Yeah, it's like you could strip away those elements and like the rock elements, and it would be kind of like a traditional song on its own. And of course, this one was based off of a traditional folklore song. Of course, they had to make changes for Eurovision, but nonetheless, I'm really proud of Goe and Ukraine. And if you'd like, I'm going to say this again, if you'd like to give me a birthday gift, please help a Canadian out who cannot vote. Vote for Ukraine if you have some votes to spare. And
I'll definitely vote twice then.
Thanks.
I can vote for Australia because I prefer Australia over Ukraine by far. So
absolutely. and I also accept birthday gifts in the form of votes for Australia as well. JP Cross saying, if Ukraine don't qualify, I'm going to riot loudly. I'm sorry, I cannot read those comments in Greece. I hope you guys are being civil. It looks like it, at least. Emmanuel saying Ukraine is too unique. The entry is for a small amount of people. I like it, but I think they might be a non-qualifier.
Well, the only thing that the only concern that I have is that a lot of Euro fans like it, a lot of Eurovision fans like it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the general public will like it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But will that mean there will be a non-qualifier? We have to see and find out. I don't think so. I think they'll just save qualifier.
Yeah,
I was just saying the bubble is smaller than you think. So don't expect it's a should qualify just because the bubble likes it. I mean, we have so many examples, like a lot of hype songs who really flopped. So we will see what's going to happen. But I must say, Ukraine has a little bit of pressure because as Australia, it's the only country with 100%, I have to mention it, only country with 100% qualification rate.
As well as Australia?
Yeah, Australia and Ukraine. Just mentioning facts too.
I can't see Ukraine breaking their streak this year. I really cannot see it.
I think it's in danger, I'm honest. But I must say I prefer this over last year. So hey.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, yes, cool.
Because I think the white voice isn't that dominant in this song than last year. I think last year was even more of that. So I'm definitely preferring this one.
Solove is my jam, and I'm pretty sure I could put on any. What's that for you?
Good for you.
Okay. Anyway, lots of comments about Ukraine. Obviously, lots of love for Ukraine. So let's remember, regardless of what happens, this is a very unique band that's bringing something very unique to Eurovision, as should be the case. None of these recycled copy paste formulas that we see sometimes. So let's see some encouragement, regardless of what happens. And once again, birthday boy. Vote for Ukraine or Australia, because Canadians cannot vote. And now, Let's get to the very last one. Malta, huge performance from Destiny. Another one that also, despite having a very solid performance, they had some technical issues and they opted to perform again. In my opinion, didn't necessarily need to, but served both times. It's fun. Your thoughts?
Well, the first run through.
Sorry, what? 1 second. Evie reacts saying, "Dominic, you're fired." We love Dominic. We love our diversity of opinions here. Sorry, go ahead, Vaughn.
Well, the first run through was already great. Or vocally, she was great, but not perfect. And the second run through, she blew me away. Like her vocals were, as we know her from Junior Eurovision and whatever, like literally, like one of the best vocalists this year. I would say with a lot of confidence. Staging wise, it's good. It's great. Like she's wearing an amazing glittery silver dress. I just love her outfit. One of the most definite qualifiers this semi-final, I would say. I really like the part with the hands, like this with the hands and with a split screen. I think that's a very good effect. I just think this is a sure qualifier. I don't have anything bad to say about this. I just really love this.
Me too. I perhaps now that we've seen all of the performances, and we know that obviously Malta was leading the odds when rehearsals started, and now they are not. I do still think that this is a contender to win the semifinal. Absolutely, amazing vocals, great visuals overall. I mean, really, I don't really have anything to discount from it. But maybe once we get to the final, we can start talking about what are going to be the make or break factors when it comes to a win. But nonetheless, Dominic, your thoughts on Malta?
Yeah, just listen to her. She is so amazing. I love her. So I thought like last year was amazing. I was like, well, you can't top that. And she did. I prefer this one. Her vocals are one of the best ones ever, I would say. This year, definitely, without a doubt. And I think maybe one of the best ones at Eurovision ever. And I love the fact that we are counting tiny countries like Malta and Cyprus as a definite qualifier, even though we don't see a lot of diaspora except for like Cyprus and Greece, but Greece is not even voting here. And so you can really see that every country can deliver it and be like a sure qualifier and really be one of the contenders to win. So I don't want anyone saying like, oh, this is we are failing just because we are a country. That's not the case. You can see that Malta and Cyprus never have won. They are top 5 in the odds. They are very comfortable in the final, I would say. So yeah, I think that's a very good example. I think she's like 18 years old, and that's unbelievable. Like she sings like she was born on the stage, honestly. I like the fact that they were changing a few things. So I wasn't a fan of the pink boots and pink background and pink backing dancers. So I like the fact that it's now silver because it's a better contrast. So I'm happy that they changed that. But otherwise, honestly, I think this is a contender to win, and I think this is going to win Eurovision.
The only thing that I will say though about the song is that like most part of the song, not the last part, but most part of the song doesn't do justice to her amazing voice. Like obviously she's got the last part with the really high note, etc. But I just feel like she could have had a song that was more suitable to her incredible voice. Because like this is an amazing song, but I don't think it does her incredible voice that much justice.
Yeah, I would say that was the song last year. So that was really to showcase her voice. And I like the fact that they changed it up a bit, that they're not going it safe.
Yeah, that is true.
I love 2020, but it was a bit safe, wasn't it? And I really, really, really like the fact that they're changing it up and taking risk, and it's unique, and that they're not just counting on the voice by itself. There are parts where she can showcase it, which is very important, especially for jury. I think it's going to be an important factor for that. But it's so catchy. It's so unique, as I've said. And it's something like this charts thing, like we haven't heard it before, or maybe like within the last 30 years or something. So I really appreciate the fact that they're going to take a risk, and I think she's going to be equally high with jury and televote. I think that's the reason why I think it's going to win, because I expect a huge discrepancy in the final. So I don't think jury and televote winner will be the same, and I expect Malta to be top 3 in both sides, and that's why I think it's going to win.
Okay. Lots of great comments, and we should probably wrap it up because Andy, Clara, and Tommy will be going live soon. But lots of love for Destiny. Michael Forbes saying, I have my fingers crossed for Destiny. She is a super diva, and boy, can she sing. Indeed. Simon Couture, you are not the only Canadian watching. You might be the only Canadian watching this stream, but in terms of Eurovision, I'm in Canada myself.
Isn't it streamed on TV?
It is this year. This year it's going to be on Omni. However, Omni is not available in every province. Also, something that hasn't happened in the past is that it is not geo-blocked on YouTube so far.
That's great.
let's hope that it stays that way, because
don't remember them that they have to geo-block it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hope they have.
Let's hope no one from the EBU is watching this stream and thinks, "Oh shit, we've got to geo-block this." Sorry for swearing, but
no, it's okay. But yes, comments about Destiny. Takom One saying Destiny is such a queen, great performer, great staging, and holy Moses, what a voice! She deserves to get through. All right, yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I was gonna do like a recap of like let's pick all of our 10 qualifiers, but I think that we should probably.
That's impossible.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, that's also kind of the fun of it too, right? That's the thing that I've kind of got going on with my family. Who I'm so happy that my Canadian family have warmed up to Eurovision in some way. Like, obviously, I'm the super fan because like look at where I am. But but it's been really a pleasure to see Eurovision kind of grow in Canada, because apart from Celine Dion, we don't have too many ties, and most people don't even know that she won. What's that?
Katerin Duska.
Yes, but you know, not everybody knows about that. And obviously, I'm a huge Katerin Duska fan, and I want more people to know about her, and she should come and perform in Canada. Thank you, Michael Forbes. But we'll wrap it up there. Guys, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to Eurovoxx, because we are covering Eurovision as it happens. I'm really excited that we're actually seeing the very first show in 2 years tonight.
I mean, it just feels kind of unreal seeing an audience in an arena having Eurovision. Like, it's actually happening.
Yeah, like, and it's almost like a window into a return to normalcy. Obviously, they're doing so under very strict protocols, and let's hope that they're able to keep the event as safe as they can.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please subscribe to Eurovoxx so you can come in on some of our other live streams. We've got tons of interviews with the artists that are participating this year, so we'd love for you to check out those. Andy, Claire, and Tommy will be back in under 15 minutes to talk some more, and we'll also be talking after the show.
Isn't it an hour and 15 minutes?
I saw him say in the comments, I saw him say that
an hour before the show.
Soon. Yeah,
an hour before the show.
What time is it now?
It's a quarter to seven.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like in an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Please follow us on our socials if you haven't done so already. We'd love to know what you think about Eurovision this year. Who are your qualifiers for semifinal 1? We'll be doing another one of these for semifinal 2. Just stick around because we'd love to know what you guys think. But until then, we will see you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye. Enjoy the show.